Hello, everyone. My name is Fleury, and as John mentioned, I'm the content manager at techboomers.com, which is a free-to-use website that contains instructional articles on how to use everyone's favorite websites and apps. And to start out, I'd just like to thank the APCUG for letting Tech Boomers come back and host another webinar on this subject that's very important to us, which is digital literacy. And our goals at Tech Boomers have always been very closely aligned with what the APCUG does, and it's always nice to be able to share more about how we're trying to help improve digital literacy. My focus today will be mainly on a blend of what digital literacy is, and more specifically, why digital literacy training is so important, and what Tech Boomers does to try to help spread digital literacy across the world in a way that the average person can make use of. So I'll just give you a quick glimpse into the topics I'll be going over in our time today. First is the importance of digital literacy. Here I'll just be doing a quick overview of what this is and why digital literacy is so important to the daily lives of the average person. Next, I'll use that as a segue into how the need for digital literacy training helped create Tech Boomers, what our website actually is, and how it has grown in the past couple of years. Then I'll be going over some digital literacy best practices and finally discussing the ways in which you can use our free resources for your own purposes. I should mention I'm a big fan of interaction. I don't necessarily need you to wait until the end if you prefer to have your question answered right away. So feel free to send them in at any time. And John, if you think the question is better to ask right away, go ahead and interrupt me anytime. Otherwise, I'll be leaving about 10 minutes at the end if you have any questions or just want to chat. So with that, let's jump right into the importance of digital literacy. I'm sure it's quite evident to many of you that in the past 20 years, digital literacy started taking this massive leap. And in the past 10 years especially, it seems like everything started migrating to exist almost exclusively online. Now, for many people, this is great because it makes life more convenient. It makes some things a lot easier, but for other people who have never been exposed to the digital space, they really struggle with adapting to this world. In general, the term digital literacy simply refers to the ability to comprehend digital devices and technologies. But to us, it also means being able to do this on your own without the help of others. Of course, many people can only learn this from being taught by others, but to be proficient in digital literacy, you really need to be able to navigate through the digital world on your own. And this is a skill that takes some people a long time to gain. However, here at Tech Boomers and within many digital literacy focused organizations, being digitally literate is extremely important in the modern society. So what we try to do is emphasize that what you have to gain from being digitally literate is extremely beneficial to you. And one of the things we found is often the thing that gets people who haven't used technology interested in using it is the social aspect of digital literacy. Thanks to digital technology, keeping in touch with friends and family has never been easier. Before we had internet-based phone and video calls, calling someone long distance could be very expensive, and it wasn't something you did all the time. But now, thanks to tools like Skype or FaceTime, you can literally do this every day as much as you want, and it's essentially free. Other than paying for your access to the internet, of course. And you also get this new access to instantaneous updates of information, both for the people you know through various channels of social media, but also for things like the news. Before, one news station would find a story and show it during the 6 o'clock news, but now it's like timing is everything in the news, and it's all about whoever can publish the story online first. And of course, one of the things that is great about social-based websites and apps is that you can meet new people who have similar interests as you, and you can even talk to them before you have to meet them in person. We certainly noticed that all of these social improvements are ways that encourage people to get themselves online. We see a lot of people who previously avoided technology looking at their friends making such great use of these tools, and they think, hey, you know, I want that too. Another way we see people getting interested in technology is through online learning. And in this case, we don't mean learning how to use the internet, but actually learning traditional subjects and taking courses entirely online. Now you can take a university level course on a website like Coursera.org while you're sitting at home in your PJs, and you're just as qualified as anyone else who attended those institutions in person. And you can also search for answers to any question immediately. I don't know about you, but I remember days when you'd be sitting around with your friends and someone would say something that you were sure was wrong, and you'd say, no, no, you're mistaken. The biggest planet is Jupiter. And you could talk about that for an hour trying to sort out who was right. And now someone just says, let's Google it, and you have the answer in 5 seconds. And with that easy on-the-go access to the internet, what you really have is access to so much of the information that exists in the world. You can stay up to date on any topic daily. You can learn about passions you didn't even know you had, and all you have to do is go searching through the internet. And it really has opened the door for a more well-informed generation, if, of course, all the information online was completely accurate, which we know it isn't. But over time, you gain more knowledge on how to use the internet to learn properly. And we know of many people who have gained skills they never thought they would have thanks to online learning. We share stories all the time of people who move into retirement homes and then start learning how to do computer coding online from their bedrooms. And it's really incredible the skills that you can gain now thanks to online learning institutions and websites. Now, in addition to gaining seemingly infinite knowledge and having a booming social life, one of my favorite things to promote as a benefit of learning digital literacy is that you can save so much money. There are so many websites and apps that have taken off solely based on the fact that their model helps people save significant amounts of money when compared to the traditional way things have been done in the past. And one of the best examples of this is the ride-sharing app Uber. The idea of a ride-sharing app where you can call a taxi to your exact location, track it on GPS, and see how much it's going to cost you for your ride before you get in the car is such a significant improvement on the traditional taxi model. And in addition to that, it saves people so much money because of the way the company pays its drivers. Another great example is Airbnb, which allows regular people to rent out their homes for predetermined periods of time. And that has also helped people save so much money. And a lot of people use Airbnb exclusively and have just said, they're not going to use hotels anymore, because being able to stay in a person's home is often so much more comfortable than staying in a hotel, but people charge less to stay in their homes than hotels do. And along with Airbnb, booking travel in general is just great to do online because you can use those travel-focused search engine websites that just compare the rates on all of the travel websites for you, so you always know you're paying the least amount of money for the same vacation. There are also tons of websites that exist solely to get you coupons on your favorite brands and offer discounts on services you buy, either online or in person. Groupon is a great example where you just get discounts on things that go on in your town, like personal training or massages and spa days, even big local events, and it's entirely free to use. It's just free discounts. So with all of these improvements, things you do on a daily basis just become simpler when you have the digital literacy skills you need to make them happen. You can shop from your home and have things delivered to you overnight. You can save all of your digital information on the cloud so you never lose it. You can even improve security in your home with safety and monitoring apps. There are apps you can use that work with electronic locks, so you could lock your door, your front door at your house, even if you were halfway across the world on a trip. Another favorite of mine since I got my license at 16 was Google Maps. It just makes navigating so much easier, and because of its connection to other Google services, it has detailed listings about businesses, so when you're on the road, you can search for a restaurant and just add it to your route. And you can even check out the reviews of a gas station that you're driving by before you drive up to it. There's also websites like Yelp or TripAdvisor where you can read detailed reviews from people who actually went to restaurants or businesses and see what something is like before you even have to go there. Now, all in all, these things genuinely improve quality of life, and they can for people of all ages, but of course, That's only the case if you know what these websites and apps are and you can figure out how to use them. And that's where Tech Boomers comes in. So everything moved online, some things exclusively, and it happened very fast. I know for many of you here at the APCUG, you love technology, you recognize how great it is, but that's certainly not the case for everyone. The online migration seemed to happen so quickly, and this was all before digital literacy training was even a thing. So how do people who were never taught to use a computer deal with this? Our founder, Steve Black, realized that there was a problem with this, mainly just through his own experience. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this. I know I can. Steve was always being asked by his family to do anything computer and technology related. You know, how do I get Netflix, or how do I get on Facebook? And then you set it up for them, and of course, a week later, they call you back and it's like, how do I use Facebook? And it's this never-ending cycle of technology training within your family. And I know I have the same thing. My grandparents used to live across the street from us, and we had this standing once-a-week session where I would go over to my grandfather and show him how to use something like Microsoft Word or how to set up his email, stuff like that. So there was a clear need for this, especially for people who grew up in the generation where they simply didn't have access to the kind of personal technology we have today. It also seemed like the content already available online just simply wasn't reliable. Most of the content was user-generated, so one person would just explain, this is how you change your Amazon settings. And then it's not kept up to date, so the second Amazon changes their settings menu, which happens all the time, the instructions are no longer relevant. The content also wasn't presented within a structured learning environment. An average person can't search about how to use the advanced features on Facebook because they don't even know what they are. There needed to be something that helped a person at any level of knowledge learn about these tools and what their possibilities are. And that's where Steve came up with the idea for Tech Boomers, a website that has step-by-step tutorials that teach everyday people how to use the websites and apps that would most improve their quality of life. And of course, it would have to be 100% free to use. So that's how the website started. Steve's background included work with search engine optimization, which John mentioned in my introduction is a specialty of mine as well. But that's basically just a fancy way of saying a person who can optimize the content that's published online so that search engines prioritize them. So that's kind of how Steve got into this line of work. In the past, he had already dabbled with a few entrepreneurial ventures, but he was looking for a way to take this skill and turn it into a business while also trying to build something meaningful that would genuinely help other people. Tech Boomers started as a website that was entirely free to use and contained courses about everyone's favorite websites and apps. So some of our early courses included things like Facebook, Netflix, LinkedIn, Gmail, basically any website that most people had heard about, even if they weren't using it yet. Each week, we would try to release one new course that contained anywhere from about 7 to 30 tutorials that laid out step-by-step instructions on how to use that website or app. So for example, most courses would always contain a "what is this" article, an article on how to sign up for it, an article on whether it's a safe or legitimate website, how to delete the account if you didn't want to use it anymore, and then anything very specific to the actual website and how it works. We basically started targeting the generation of people who didn't have the opportunity to learn about technology at a younger age. So we started with a 50+ adults focus, hence our name Tech Boomers, which of course is tech plus baby boomers. So with the search engine optimization focus, we were basically looking to put out the best content that currently exists online. I started at Tech Boomer as a writer for these tutorials, and basically the entire first day I worked on a new course, all I was doing was reading everything else that was online about that topic, so I knew how to write the best set of articles. And the search engine optimization also helps us determine what people are searching for, so we can make courses each week that we knew people were desperate to learn about and would be interested in. At the start, we would also get a lot of feedback in our comments about people asking for courses on websites we hadn't done yet. So we would just try to get them out there as quickly as possible while still making sure what we put out was the best quality tutorial you could find. And back then, it would take us about a full week to write a new course so that we could make sure we included everything we thought someone would need to know if they wanted to start using that website or app. We had some great early growth on our site, which we believe can mostly be attributed to the quality of the content we put out. The site was very easy to use, and a lot of people were recommending it to their friends and family. And I know as soon as I started working there, when I got those weekly calls from my parents where they would say, how do I set up my FaceTime or something like that, I would just tell them, go to Tech Boomers, I wrote a course about that. And it really seemed to be working for the people who were using our site. And we also made an effort to partner with a lot of organizations like the APCUG that aim to help spread digital literacy, because the best thing about our site is that it always has been and always will be free to use. And that's not just in the sense that any person can go to techboomers.com and use it for free, but we actually have a Creative Commons license so that any person, including librarians who run digital literacy training sessions or teachers in classrooms or anyone like that, can use our tutorials in any way they want. Many people would turn our courses into slideshows, or they have their students go onto techboomers.com and just work through a course so that they wouldn't have to actually develop their own curriculum. And in these ways, we really saw the reward of the type of work we were doing, which helped us shift our vision and goals a little bit, starting mainly in early 2017. So by that time, we had over 100 courses. And once you have that many, you obviously start to become a little bit limited in how many more you can write. There are really only so many services out there that people are both using all the time and need detailed instructions for how to use them. And we felt that we had already done most of the top websites and apps, but through our continued writing, we realized that a lot of the time we wanted to help give more information on an individual topic, but it didn't really fit in with the course model that we were using for the website. And that's where we came up with the idea to create some blog style content. And when we first came up with this idea, it happened to be close to Valentine's Day. So we tried releasing articles along the lines of things like 5 best sites to make Valentine's Day dinner reservations, or the best websites to order flowers online. And those types of articles were really fun to write, but what our main focus on when we launched the blog, what our main focus was on was digital literacy. And Steve and I had started having a lot of conversations about how essentially what Tech Boomers does is teach digital literacy for free. But through our research, it was pretty clear that not that many resources actually existed online that talk about what digital literacy is, or directs people who are looking to learn about technology to where they can find these resources. We obviously love our own website, but it's not the only place on the internet you can go to learn about these kinds of things. And there are also some topics that we generally stayed away from on Tech Boomers, like how to physically use a computer. And people who are new to computers need to learn things like how a mouse works, or keyboard shortcuts, or how to use Microsoft Word or Excel. And those are all things we don't have on Tech Boomers, but we still want to help people be able to find them. And we want them to find websites that are of the same quality as our site. So we began our individual article style content with a ton of digital literacy focused articles, some of which have consistently been our most viewed or shared articles over time. And just to give you a taste of what these articles are like, I have 2 favorites that I specifically remember writing because they were so fun to write, but they also got a lot more shares than many of our other articles very quickly when we put them up on the site. One of them was this big article that listed the 25 best free digital literacy resources online. And it had links to every website and explained in a few sentences what those websites did. And we had a great response for that article and had a lot of libraries and digital literacy nonprofits spreading that list around. My other favorite was The Ultimate Guide to Fake News, which we released shortly after the 2016 US election. And it was basically a guide that showed you how to identify a news story online that was fake and gave a list of known websites that post fake news stories. And I'm happy to report that a lot of those websites are no longer running, but this was basically the direction we were looking to go in: help spread free digital literacy and encourage other organizations that are aiming to do the same thing. One other big success for us has been our YouTube channel. About 2 years ago, at the same time I started at Tech Boomers, Steve hired Jessica, and her goal was to get the YouTube channel up and running and try to turn many of our tutorials into YouTube videos so that people who prefer to watch instructional videos could get the same quality information. And I don't think any of us predicted how successful our channel was going to be. I just found out this week that we hit over 80,000 subscribers, and we're sitting at almost 23 million views right now, which we think is pretty good for only 2 years and only having one person working on the YouTube channel. Our channel has actually been growing so quickly in the past year that we've started these ongoing bets about when we're going to hit new subscribers or milestone view counts. And I make a big batch of chocolate chip cookies, and whoever guesses closest to the day we hit the milestone gets them. And so far, it's always whoever guesses the earliest ends up being the winner, because we're just hitting them much faster than we're expecting. Unfortunately, I have never won the bet, but we have one coming up at the end of December, so my fingers are crossed for that. But the main point here is that there are things that the average person needs to know to both make use of what's available online and to protect themselves while doing it. And I'm really happy to see many of the other presentations that are being given during the virtual technology conference cover topics like this. I saw one on how to create secure passwords, and there was another on things you should consider before cutting the cable cord. These are all important topics that go beyond the basic instruction of, this is how you create your account. You type your email address and password into this box, or this is how you sign up for Netflix. Put your credit card information in this box and you're done. Don't ask any more questions. And we think that that type of additional information is essential. And really, it's a mandatory component of teaching someone how to use these tools online that at first seem like magic, but they open a world of dangerous possibilities. And that's where our digital literacy best practices come in. What online safety and privacy aren't always obvious, especially to a person who's new to technology. And there is a reason that online scams work so well, and the reason is because no one ever thinks to tell you about phishing scams when they tell you you need to sign up for an email address. And we always made an effort in our Tech Boomers courses to include at least one article on safety related to the website or app we were covering, even though not a lot of people search for this. The problem with running a free website is you still have to find a way to cover the expenses of running the website. And if we write articles that nobody is searching for, chances are not a lot of people are going to find them or end up on our site because of them. But we believe that this component of digital literacy is so important, we needed to include them, and we hoped that when people landed on our course page, they would see the article about safety and think, oh, I should definitely give that a read. We also tried to make a distinction between safety and privacy online, because we found that though some people think a lot about the former, the latter seems to get overlooked a lot of the time. In general, safety relates to the concerns associated with someone's personal safety and how using a website could implicate that. So dating apps or apps like Uber or Meetup put you into contact with real people that you have to meet in person, and that poses a danger to your safety. I'm sure most people here have heard a few of those Craigslist horror stories, and unfortunately, real people suffer because either no one warned them about using the dangers of a website like that, or they didn't take the precautions necessary to prevent themselves from coming to harm while using that service. And privacy, on the other hand, is related to your personal information. So entering your address, social security number, phone number, credit card, showing your face in a video, or tracking your location with a GPS, all of these expose intimate details about who you are and can cause serious problems like identity theft, which is one of the biggest online crimes, and it's the one that average people are the most vulnerable to. That these dangers exist is something that most people here are aware of, but the average person who is inexperienced with technology just isn't. And the worst part is that the way most people learn about this is through experience. And this is not the kind of thing where learning from your mistakes makes you better off. It's definitely the kind of thing where if you knew about these threats before you were exposed, you 100% could have prevented them from happening. And the first and most important thing to understand is that digital literacy skills will protect you from these dangers. The first step is understanding the dangers of the internet. Once you know what they are, you have the basic skills to avoid situations that could compromise you. You should always research what the possible scams, dangers, and problems are that people have experienced using a website or app before you go on it or download it. And I can tell you there is no website or app in existence that doesn't have the potential to compromise your safety or privacy. It doesn't matter what it is. So the more you understand about what you're agreeing to when you start using a website, the better off you're going to be down the road. Secondly, you need to use the proper protection tools. These include things like antivirus software for your computer, spam filters for your email, or password managers that keep all of your passwords encrypted. Most people know, for example, that a best practice for passwords is not to use ABC123 as your password, but that's really a best practice for passwords from 20 years ago. There are far more intricacies necessary to actually protecting your accounts now, and understanding digital literacy helps you create those stellar passwords that no one will be able to guess, or that would take a malicious program years to hack through. Third, it's best to think about what you are putting out there and know that the consequences of what you do online are very real. I always tell people to think about it in this way. Everything you write online is written in permanent marker, and clicking the send button is not something to be taken lightly. The things you said or did years ago can affect your future. So a great example of this is Facebook was something that came out when I was in high school. So of course it was immensely popular with people my age, and everyone was using it. And remember, we're talking 10 plus years ago when social media was really a new thing, and we are talking about 15 and 16-year-olds, but people would post pictures of themselves doing illegal things or make status updates that were just immensely inappropriate. And then 5 years down the line, when they're trying to get a job, they aren't considered as a serious candidate. And more than ever, people are taking screenshots of the things you say, or saving and sharing the things you post, so you need to think things through before you post them. And this is something that we think is incredibly important to share with anyone that's learning digital literacy. And if it might compromise your safety, you probably shouldn't do it. And as I always like to say, if you wouldn't show that post to your mom or to your boss, in the least you should be thinking twice before you put it out there, and really, you probably shouldn't be posting it at all. And finally, you need to stay up to date on this. The internet changes more rapidly than possibly any other thing. New dangers are coming up every single day. Millions of scam emails are sent out daily, so you have to take an active approach to your learning. As long as the internet continues to develop, digital literacy is a lifelong endeavor. And that's why we put so much effort into making our content available for anyone, especially those who train other people on digital literacy or how to use technology. And we try to keep it as up-to-date as possible to make sure any new user still knows the most important things surrounding the service that they're trying to sign up for. Earlier this year, at the end of February, we relaunched our website with a lot of the feedback we'd received in the past couple of years from users to try to make it even easier to use and to help people find content they were interested in much more easily when they were already on the website. We also invested a lot of time this year in updating some of our old articles to all match each other in style and to make sure we had added any new relevant information that had come up since they were originally published. Lucky for me, our very talented video creator, Jessica, made a concise video on how to use the Tech Boomers website once we relaunched it. So instead of walking you through the site myself, which I'm sure I couldn't do nearly as gracefully as she does, I'm going to play you the short site tour she made, which will also give you a taste of what our YouTube instructional videos are like. So I'll just get that going right now, and after that we'll finish up the presentation with the different ways you can use Tech Boomers. And if anyone can't hear the sound with the video, please just send out a comment and John, you can let me know.
Welcome to techboomers.com, a free website that will teach you how to do just about everything online, using your favorite websites, apps, devices, and more. New articles and courses are being added every day to teach you more internet tips and tricks, introduce you to awesome new sites and apps, and more. We have over 100 website and app courses that are absolutely free. Near the top of our homepage, you'll see a menu with our main categories. Shopping online, where you can learn how to buy and sell things. Online entertainment, to learn about services like Netflix and Spotify, as well as games, news, and more. Social websites and apps, where we'll teach you everything you need to know about popular social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram. Useful websites and apps to learn about sites for online learning, business, and more helpful apps. And our last category, Technology Basics, where you can learn about devices like iPhone and Android smartphones and Internet basics. Within our drop-down menu, you can access subcategories, as well as popular courses and featured articles from that category. To see all articles from a category or subcategory, click View All Articles at the bottom. On the category pages, you'll see various featured content at the top of the page. If you scroll down, you'll see a few different sliders with more featured articles. Each slider features different kinds of articles. Click on any item in one of these sliders to go to the article page. In the top right corner, you can sign up for our email newsletter to get weekly updates on new and popular articles and courses. Below the newsletter sign-up box are more related articles we think you might like based on the article you're currently reading. You can easily find any article, tutorial, or course using the search bar at the top of the page. To access our full list of courses, click the Access 100 Plus Free Courses button in the top left corner. Click on a category to see courses in that category. Search for a specific course using the search bar. Click on the name of a course to open it. From there, you can click on the name of any tutorial to learn about that subject. If you really enjoy one of our courses or articles, you can use the social icons on the left side of the page to share it with your friends on your own social media profiles. In the top right corner, you'll find links to our social media profiles. Check out our YouTube channel for tutorial videos on a variety of sites, apps, and devices. Feel free to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates as well. Our site is also optimized for mobile devices and tablets, so you can read and learn whether you're at home or on the go. For our library and tech training partners, you can use our free courses in programs at your establishments. Feel free to contact us with any ideas or suggestions through our Library Partners page, linked in the footer of our website. That does it for our quick tour of techboomers.com. We hope you enjoy our free tech tutorials on all of today's most popular websites, apps, and devices.
So hopefully that gave you a bit of a feel for what our website is like and what our YouTube channel is like. And now that you actually know what Tech Boomers looks like and how it functions, I'm going to explain the main ways that we think Tech Boomers can help people learn about technology. The first is what we call casual technology user. So this refers to almost all people who have access to technology but don't necessarily need to use it for their jobs, or they don't have any formal training like a computer science background. Every person who is exposed to technology starts out this way, and Tech Boomers is both a great starting place as well as a good continued authority on any website or app that the casual user wants to learn more about. The second group of people we have using Tech Boomers a lot is our librarians, and Tech Boomers loves librarians. They make up a large portion of our partners, and many of them use our tutorials in their own training sessions. Most libraries across North America dedicate time and space every week to teaching technology to their local residents for free, and they need something to use in those sessions that doesn't cost money and is easy for both their librarians and their students to use, no matter what the proficiency level is. Technology trainers face a similar issue, and the main difference between them and librarians is that tech trainers are running training sessions without the base resources of a library. So they too need something to build their curriculum around, and there's really nothing better than a free resource to help you achieve that on a budget. And the final way is to share it with people you know. So if you know other librarians or tech trainers, let them know about how Tech Boomers is free to use in their sessions. Or if you have the struggle that Steve and I have, where you have the basic technology knowledge, so everyone you know and their mother, and literally probably also their mothers, are asking you to do things for them, you can share Tech Boomers to take some of the work out of teaching them yourself. So if Tech Boomers sounds like it would be useful to you, we of course ask for your help in spreading the word about what we have to offer. And there are 5 easy ways to do this, all of which help you and your organizations as well. The first is to add a link to our homepage from your own websites or blogs. So as Jessica mentioned in the video and in the image on the slide here, you can see the library partners and tech trainers buttons we have on the footer of all of our website pages. There are instructions there for anyone in those groups on how to do this, but if you add a link to our homepage on your site, it will give everyone you train or work with an easy way to find our website. The second way is to provide links to specific articles or courses we have from your site. So if your students or the people you're training are interested in learning about Facebook, you could share the link to our Facebook course on your site. Or when something big in tech happens, like the new GDPR regulations that came into effect this spring, you can link to our article about that. And for some of you, it will prevent you from having to explain that information yourself, but you can also just provide it for anyone that's interested in learning more about that specific topic. The third way is to repost or actually reuse our content on your own website or in your newsletters. You can actually republish our content on your own website, so it's built right into it. That level of intricacy would require a bit more work, but for that you'd want to contact me directly so we could arrange how that could work for you and what content you might want access to or how much of it you might want. But we have had this kind of partnership in the past, and some of our partners have found it to be immensely useful to them. And the fourth way is to share our content on your social media pages. Again, if there's a particular article we've written that you think would be relevant to your followers, go ahead and spread it around. And the final way, of course, is just word of mouth. So tell your colleagues about us or anyone you partner with, and just remind them that our resources are free. So now you know the who and the why and the how of using Tech Boomers, but I'm going to explain the actual ways you can use the resources from our websites in your own live sessions. So with our partners, we typically see 4 main ways people are making use of our content in their sessions. The first and easiest way is just to visit our website and do a live walkthrough with your students. So if you have the projector style type of classroom where you can put something up and everyone can see it, you can just put our website up there, walk through how to use any site or app. You could go through a course, you could go to an article, and just have everyone watching you. If you happen to have more resources where everyone in your class has their own computer or device, the second way is that you can get your members or students to individually visit any article for the topic you want them to learn about that day. The third way is to turn our courses and articles into a slideshow or a handout for your class. We have a print this tutorial button on each page of our courses, which makes it very easy to make handouts for the people you're training. And you can also take screenshots of the course sections and turn them into slides for your own slideshow. And the final way, of course, is to use our YouTube channel and show our video tutorials. Sometimes some people prefer learning through video, and showing videos is also such an easy way to teach someone how to do something, because it involves so little work for you and less work for our trainers. Is something they love, and we love it because we love anything that makes your lives easier. Many of our videos also coincide with actual articles on our website, so you could always approach your lessons by showing a video and then allowing more time to follow along with the companion articles. And there you have it. So I hope you learned a lot, both about the importance of digital literacy and how Tech Boomers is aiming to help spread those skills to the everyday technology user. Of course, you can always visit our website at techboomers.com or our YouTube channel at youtube.com/techboomers. My email listed on the slide there is kaylay@techboomers.com. And I encourage you to shoot me an email anytime if you want to learn more, you want to use our content, you want to partner with us, or you genuinely just want to talk about digital literacy or anything else. Steve and I both love meeting librarians and tech trainers because it helps us get real insight into what has helped people in the past and what you are all actually looking for in the future, more things to help you. Board games are also on the table as a topic of discussion. Steve and I are both far too interested in board games for our own good. And I'm sure both of us could talk to anyone for hours about that and about digital literacy. I know we did that at the last digital literacy conference we went to. So anyway, thank you all so much for your time. All of our contact information is here. So please reach out to me if you'd like to chat. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them right now.
Yeah, if they can post them on the chat, I can relay them. Zoom told me that my mic wasn't noticeable, but one question that I've got, for those who are interested in using things for their clubs or for classwork, what's the usual time frame for doing one of your lessons?
That would really depend on which course you chose. Some of our courses where the website or app is a bit less complex only has like 8 tutorials. So I would guess it probably takes about 10 to 15 minutes per tutorial. But some of our courses like LinkedIn, Facebook, or Evernote have up to about 30. So those ones would take a great deal more time. We have a lot of people, they like the course method because in their lesson, they can kind of let their individual students start with a course, and then they can always finish up what they didn't get through at home if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because I know that a lot of the clubs have a need for programs. And sometimes a lot of the time would be about an hour, or they might have some outside of the club, some training time where people could come in for a 1 hour or a 2 hour workshop, and these sound, really good. Because when people ask questions and you only have 1 or 2, it's kind of hard to try to do a whole class or have a class when there's only like 1 or 2 students. But this kind of a program really has some benefits that you can say, yeah, we've got some training and help you out there.
Yeah, and I would think that many of our courses could easily be worked through in 1 to 2 hours. There's just a few when there are so many settings offered and the website's been around for so long that there's just a lot of content. But you could also pick and choose which tutorials you think are more important. Not everyone wants to know like how to use Facebook events, but some people really do. So you can always have your students pick and choose the things that they're more interested in as well.
Yeah, I had a note that said that one of our members have put together several presentations for their groups from your tutorials for programs. That's really good, especially when I know that sometimes you do a presentation and 2 weeks later somebody said, "How can you do a presentation on something?" And we're going, "We just did it." So we can direct it to that one. Okay, this was a question that I had written down from the very beginning because people know me as my nickname of Free John, and somebody else asked it, so since they did, how do you generate the revenue to be able to pay for your food and your car and your 20 trips around the world?
Of course. This is a question we get asked a lot as well. So we also, I didn't mention this, but we don't actually have any ads on our website either. So there is nothing impacting your learning space, which is really nice. So again, that's another way we don't make money. But what we do is what's called affiliate marketing. So in some of our articles, when we mention websites where people pay to use them, if we direct those users to that website, they give us a percentage of either the sale they make. So for example, if you found out about Amazon.com because you read an article on Tech Boomers and you click on the link to go to Amazon, then you buy something for $20 on Amazon, we would make something like 10 cents on that sale. So we also have just an internal rule that we never promote websites that have better models, because we're about learning, right? So we always give lists of the best websites and apps that are out there, and we always give a rundown of what that website's like. And every once in a while, when somebody makes a purchase using a site that they found out about through us, we get percentages of those sales. So that's how we make the money.
So does your articles and blogs have a special link that sort of ties back to you so that we know that you would be getting something back through our purchases or our viewing?
That actually depends on the specific website. So some websites have affiliate programs set up, so they actually track where the traffic came from, and you just register with them. So they know anyone that was directed from techboomers.com, we're getting that percentage of the sale. Other websites, you have to do like individualized programs with them and stuff like that. So every website's different. Every website offers completely different percentages, but yeah, it really just depends on the website.
Question, on your main page, you can sign in. What's the advantages to setting up like an account with Tech Boomers?
We actually, when we relaunched our website, we got rid of that feature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was something we used to have. So back in the day when all we had was the courses, if you created a user profile, the only advantage was you could track your progress. So there was a way to see that you had completed tutorials. So a lot of our librarians and tech trainers really liked that. And the students especially, because it gave you this, sense of accomplishment, like, oh, I did all of Facebook, I'm going to do all of Twitter tomorrow. So we did get rid of that feature when we relaunched the site, just because a lot of our content doesn't follow the course model anymore. So it wasn't really helping anyone. And we kind of reached out to a lot of our partners and said, hey, are you going to be upset if we get rid of this? And everyone seemed fine with it.
Good. Well, it's amazing for somebody to write up all of those things. It's great for free. I think that we don't have any more questions right now, but I will leave the chat room open for anybody to think of something else. I want to thank Kay for taking the time to come out of her busy schedule on a Saturday to present at our fall VTC. I know that I'm sure that some of our clubs will find some new material for their programs, because that's a key thing of getting presenters and programs, and I think they'll do that. Oh, one other question I saw pop up, it's an important one. Do clubs need written permission to use your articles?
No, they don't. So you can, as I mentioned, you can really use them in any way you want. What we ask for is that you just add a link to our homepage to your website. So both so that it makes it easy for the people you're training to access the resource if they want to, but just to also say, hey, this is where we got this, check out Tech Boomers, it's awesome and it's free.
Okay, and last, just to clarify again, because I do and a lot of other people go to Amazon to buy things, is there any way that we can, that we're supposed to do special, that when we go and buy something that you get the credit for giving us the idea of going here and getting it?
Not necessarily. In that case, it would just be anything you access through the Tech Boomers website will get the credit if it's that type of affiliate marketing. Again, we don't have that on every page of our website because we write a ton of articles that have nothing to do with websites that generate revenue. But anytime you're using Tech Boomers, if you just click on one of those links and end up buying something, even sometimes months later, we would still get the credit for that sale. So I just hope that it's useful to everyone and you can actually find websites you haven't heard about before and start using them, and it just makes your life better. And that makes our lives better.
That's great. So thank you so much. We appreciate, and that it's not your first, that you've been with us before, and hopefully a lot of our groups will, you know, tie in with you.